Hi, this is Grancy. Today is Tuesday afternoon. I'm sitting in the school line waiting to pick up Jake, and I thought maybe today I would talk about grieving. We've all had to do it. We all are still doing it. We've lost many loved ones. I know that I have over the years. My mama, my daddy, my grandmothers, my grandfathers, some aunts, some uncles, dear friends. But today I want to talk about my brother-in-law, Henry, Hank Money. He was really more than a brother-in-law to me. He was more of a brother to me. He moved in our home when him and my sister were still in school, eventually marrying. But at this time, he moved in with us in our home in the Cove. So I developed a relationship with him very early on as a brother. As we grew older, we all did things together. After him and Nidra got married, we did several things together, riding in the woods. I think I was the only girl that could really keep up with him with his Miller Lite, and taking the tops off of them and doing like that and spinning them across the room. I know Mama had several of them behind her couch one time when she moved it, and good times, good day, good times. I think one day I remember throwing up in their Maverick, which is their green car, and I remember Nidra getting pretty pissed off about that, but that's what we did. That was the demon that we did back in the day. But I want to talk about the grieving process. Henry was diagnosed with lymphoma 20-something years into their marriage, and he died. But over the course of the grieving process with him, many trips to Shands, and just so much over the last year of Henry's life, and we were just so hands-on with him. I tried not to leave Nidra's side as much as I possibly could, because she was going through such a hard time losing her husband, being sick like he was, and at the same time, Jacob, their son, was in high school about to graduate. He's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. That's my nephew, Jacob Aaron Money. But in the process of all of this, his granddaddy Money, which is really what this story is about today, that man was an odd duck. Henry was close to his granddaddy, or he was close to his dad, as close as his dad would let him. And there were always issues over several different things, as they grew up. But the sad part about this is he did come around quite a bit to see Henry when he was sick. And the one question that he would always ask, how is Jake doing? How is Jake doing? Okay, well, that was okay. That's a legitimate question. How is Jake doing? And if I was the one that he asked, I would always say, he's doing as well as to be expected. His dad is sick. His dad is very sick. He's got a terminal illness. So, Jake is doing the best that he can. Well, over the months of the last year that he was alive, I actually had to physically be in contact with Granddaddy Money on many occasions, because, at the hospital, at home, during the course of the whole illness. And I didn't like him, he didn't like me. It was obvious. We just put up with each other. But the very, very, very sad day came, and Henry died. And a few weeks later, I was actually in the Hallmark store. And here comes Mr. Money. I'm looking at the cards and, whatever I was doing in there. And damn it if he didn't come up to me and say, "How's Jake doing? How's Jake doing?" Well, I believe at that very moment, I told him how Jake was. But I believe I grieved a little bit at the same time. I went off on that man like you don't know what, right in the middle of the damn Hallmark store. And he didn't say a word. But the funniest part of this story, if there can be any funniness to this, for me being so rude to him in the Hallmark store, he told, I believe it was Jacob, afterwards, when he saw him again, he told him, he said, "If she hadn't been a woman, I would have slapped her." Well, I tell you what, if he had done that, he would have left this earth a lot sooner than what he did. Mr. Money was so odd, just like I said. But he had such a weird way of communicating with all his children and his grandchildren. But I do truly believe that he loved Jake. He spent a lot of time with Jake as he was growing up. He took him everywhere. Jake got to see the world. He got to travel. He got to go to the finest restaurants. He got to go to he got to just do a lot of traveling with Mr. Money. And Mr. Money always went with the best. And I appreciate all of that, and I appreciate that day. Looking back on it, it is kind of funny. Now it is, but everybody has to grieve in their own way. And that day, I believe I got a little bit of relief for Henry, for all the times that he wanted his dad's approval, all the times that Jacob wanted the approval. I think I just kind of like, I brought it home that day. Didn't mean to quite so severely like I did, but I'm glad he didn't slap me, because the ending could have been a lot worse than us just walking away being embarrassed in the store. So my message is, you got to grieve in your own way, and you got to do it however you got to do it. But Henry, I want you to rest in peace. Mr. Money, I want you to rest in peace. And I'll see you on the other side. Peace.